We typically try and do everything up here as cheaply as we possibly can. And then I just bought this container, which definitely wasn't cheap. In fact, as far as containers go, this is by far the most expensive container you can buy. It's also new. It's just had one trip over to New Zealand. So I kind of wanted to maybe I'm justifying it to myself more than I'm trying to justify it to you. It's a lot more money than I've spent on, or anything pretty much. It's certainly a lot more than I've ever spent on a car, say. So I wanted to kind of take you through the thought process of why I got it. I think it's a worthwhile thing. When I started looking at containers, I started thinking about how can I do this as cheaply as possible. So I looked at used containers and I thought about cutting holes in the side of them. There's quite a few drawbacks with that. You're sort of, the structural integrity of the container is obviously going to be harmed as you start taking out walls and putting windows in. There's also the dirt and the mess of doing it. And then if you pay somebody else to do it, the costs are going up. And the more I was getting, I got quotes for things, and the more I was getting people to do, the closer the end amount was getting to actually getting a brand new container with these side opening doors. When we first bought this land, I think everybody does this. You just immediately start trying to solve all the problems. How are you going to get your power? Where's your water coming from? But actually, the most important thing at the very beginning is just where does your stuff go? You buy some land, where does your stuff go? You can't just leave it in a big pile and cover it with a giant tarp. The first container we bought was a pretty cheap, smaller container, so it's just 20 foot. And that just allowed us to put all our stuff in here. And it made it a lot easier to move up to the land quickly. Probably for me, one of the most challenging things about living off-grid has been space. And this container is the solution to that problem. It's actually so nice. Part of me just thinks about kind of keeping this as some sort of house. It would be a nicer space to live in than the bus, I would think. Certainly it's a high cube, so it's got extra high ceilings. It's really spacious. There's more room than the bus. But I do need a workshop so for now, that's the first thing, is just to get this as a workshop so I can start making things and putting them inside the bus. These are very heavy-duty warehouse shelves that I managed to get from a friend that was moving out of a place. Really kind of him to give us these. These are amazing. They're like so solid already, and I've only put one bar across. Pretty hefty. I'm not going anywhere. I've just been moving stuff from one container to the other, just even to get in here. I mean, this episode could be called The Tyranny of Stuff. It's everywhere. And it's funny, you buy this stuff and you think that you own it, and it ends up owning you. And that sounds maybe a bit dramatic, but it's true. I mean, you pay to store it somewhere. You pay to, in my case, I've paid to ship it to the other side of the world. If it breaks, you pay to get it repaired. If it needs replacing, you pay for that. You end up working to manage this gear. I don't need this stuff. It's weird. It was just part of my life for so many years. And living in a house, you don't really think about it. But once you really start stripping back and you think, okay, if you're going to put it here, you're going to have to buy a shed, a container, a house, a something, a garage to put that stuff in. It's nuts. I mean, there's like a weights bench down there that I haven't lifted weights in 15 years, and it's, yeah, and there's books. I don't know, that literally thousands of books. I mean, literally thousands of books. I'm not going to read them again. I don't know why I've got all this stuff. It's completely insane. The container's sitting on screw piles. These are just massive metal screws that just get pushed all the way into the ground. It's just an easier method for me than using concrete and a lot of digging. I also like the idea that if I change my plans later and want to get rid of this and move it out of the way, I haven't got huge chunks of concrete to get rid of. These just screw out. So it's just a really simple and easy method. I'm just jacking up the container and getting it perfectly level at the moment. There's about a 15mm gap difference between the corner edges and this main beam here, which I didn't realise, so these are set out slightly off. Anyway, I'm jacking the container up and then just putting these plastic packers under. I'm putting about, actually I think these are 8mm. I'm putting 8mm packers all the way around, and that should even it all out. So I've had the container for a week now, and I guess the big question is it worth the money? I absolutely love the container. Having the doors so you can open them up, let the light in. You know, if it's raining, you can close the doors there, open up those doors instead. It's just a beautiful space to work in. It's secure. I've got all of my things packed away. I've cleared out space in the other container. It's just great. And one of the best things about it was just how quick it was to get it all in and finished. You know, if I was building a shed, I'd be at it for months. Whereas this just arrived, got put on the screw piles, and it's finished. So yeah, I absolutely love it. What a beautiful view, hey? I can just see the water glimmering through the trees. It's such a nice space to work in. I think I'll leave it there for this week. That's enough about me rattling on about this container endlessly. I'm just kind of getting a bit obsessed. But next week, I'm going to be making the kitchen cabinets for the bus. So I'm going to put the container to good use and really start getting to work at it. Thanks so much for watching.